Hi everyone, I hope you're doing well today. This is Apex Trades here with another market sector review. Today had a lot of notable strength out of the gate. Most sectors broke that low of the inside bar, as you can see on SPY leading the way. However, bears got no follow through and the bulls came back with vengeance. Look at this notable volume increase, eclipsing the last 6 sessions total. A lot of strength. However, SPY is still being rejected by this broadening range resistance. So look for that to break out. I'll show you how the bulls defended that level so well today. So market opened with a lower wick, almost a hammer candle, made a high, higher low, lower high, higher low, and then broke out of the equilibrium. And the bulls didn't look back. Lots of volume coming in on the last 15 minutes of the day, but still getting rejected from that top trend line. So the bulls need to defend this pivot low of, actually, this pivot low is a bit much, of 362.03, and break, ultimately, that pivot high, 378.46. So the first key that this resistance is on deck will be a breakout of this broadening range. However, today's volume and the lack of bear follow through proves to me that the bulls are in full control. Q's, similar story. Broke that inside bar low of yesterday, which is notable because what I was looking for was a break of the high or the low to determine direction. We broke it, however, saw no bear follow through. Made a higher high and then squeezed out. It was looking grim, bit of a waterfall. However, oversold conditions, bulls bought the dip, and the rest is history. Again, lots of volume coming in the last 15-minute candle. And overall, the QQQ bulls look very healthy. Need to defend this 303.60 level. And need to break this 314.69 level. So these are the two pivots on deck for the bulls. If they do decide to pull back, they have tons of room for a higher low, and the most likely outcome will be continuation over that high. IWM, again, same story. Broke the inside bar low, bulls bought the dip. Bulls still need to defend this pivot low of 193.44. Break Wednesday's pivot high of 197.48 to confirm a bounce, in which they will likely make a lower high compared to the top pivot of 201.18, continue in an equilibrium, and if they can make a higher low compared to 193.44, the most likely outcome in that scenario, if it plays out just as this, would be a break at that 201.18 level and more continuation for the IWM bulls. 10 EMA holding, broke on Tuesday, held the last 2 days with a notable hammer candle today. So we will see what happens, but it is looking very favorable for the bulls for continuation for that lower high and into a higher low equilibrium, and we'll see what happens after that. SMH breaking out of this bull pennant. I've been saying for the last few sessions now, this is very likely going to be a bullish break based on the individual names in the sector, as well as the entire tech sector, which has been exceptionally bullish. So forming a nice hammer candle today. I'm looking for continuation. The main pivot high is 221.79. However, there is another pivot high, secondary one at 219.40. So look for this pocket of resistance to break for the bulls. And we will see good continuation on SMH, which will help tech and the market overall, as tech has the most influence on SPY. So looking at tan, the lower pivot that the bulls need to defend is 97.64. Pivot high after this double top earlier last week was 107.45. So today we did not see a break of that inside bar, although it wasn't technically an inside bar, it was close enough. Bulls bought the dip. We see a little bit of a bounce. 10 EMA holding as support. So a lot of good factors for the solar bulls. However, based off this dump, I would expect a lower high compared to that double top pivot high of 107.45. Then likely a higher low compared to 97.64. And then hopefully we will see a break of the all-time high and more bullish continuation for the solar sector. So look for that to play out. XLV, breakout time. Another one of the market sectors breaking out of these broader pennants. Looks exceptionally good. Broke out of that pivot, that first pivot high of 113.27. Next one on deck is 114.41. So the bulls did break it today, however, not very decisively. I would like to see more continuation as opposed to 30 some odd cents. So look for the pivot high of today of 113.62 to break into next week, which would signify good strength for the bulls. And they have a huge volume shelf as well here in the 111s, 112s, which can act as a favorable support for the bulls if there is a micro pullback, reload, and continuation. So XLV bulls looking very healthy, breaking out of that pennant. XLF, similar story. On the 28th, I was talking about how this candle here, although it looks bearish, that is not necessarily a negative sign. We made what appeared to be a bull flag in the consolidation, and we broke out of that with authority today. Lots of good bull volume to support the cause of continuation. Next level's on deck, the gap at 30.60 and the all-time high at 31.38. XBI. So we'll still have the pivots drawn out from last night's video. 135.28 pivot low that the bulls need to make a higher low at, and then the pivot high 152.70. Based off this pullback and the volume, I would expect any bounce that is to come will only be a lower high compared to the top pivot, and a lot more consolidation needs to ensue in order for the bulls to make up this decrease in value. Today's inside bar, or yesterday's inside bar, I should say, broke bearish, but this had the follow through that the other sectors did not. So wait and see what the bulls can do. And the dollar. So last night, or yesterday's session, was telling as we broke the 89.73 level with conviction, a solid close below. However, today was bought right back up and the bulls closed above. So again, talking about the dollar broader market correlation, it's quite remarkable to see how in most conditions the dollar and the assets are inversely correlated. That means when the dollar goes up, assets go down. Assets go up, dollar goes down. However, today we see the dollar making a notable bounce, breaking yesterday's high, missing yesterday's high by 1 cent, hardly, and seeing very, very good buyback from the bulls today, almost making a bullish engulfing candle, diverging slightly on the RSI. Zoom in on the hourly. So to confirm that daily bounce, what we need to see, hourly high, higher low, and then a break of that pivot high. So we'll see what the bulls can do. But it is telling to see these correlations a little bit backwards. So pay attention to how that plays out. I also want to go over today a couple trades, OSTK being one of them. So I took a stop on OSTK as it broke the pivot low of November 10th. And to me, this just does not seem ready to go. I was excited when we bounced as much as we did here in early mid-November, made a higher low. I was expecting perhaps that would be the daily trend change. However, we did not get it. We started forming an equilibrium within the broader pattern. That equilibrium broke bearish. And so once it did, once this pivot was taken out, I realized that there was likely going to be follow through. I kept my stop in place as I typically do, not wanting to jump around, fiddle with my positions. And today, that November 10th low broke my signal to get out and wait for more price action to ensue in order to get a better gauge on what is going to happen with this stock. In hindsight, I don't like how we have these two massive volume nodes for the bears. That is definitely hurting the stock overall. Zooming out on a weekly chart. So when I did that, I realized that I might have had my stop a little too close because we do have this pivot high here, which price has bounced off of before. So again, we'll see what happens. I stuck to my plan, no regrets about that. But hopefully the bulls can turn things around, as I know a lot of my followers are in this position or at least eyeing it. And the other one I want to look at, PLTR. So we were watching this. I was using the extended hours chart. As you can see, pivot low here, acted as a good gauge. We broke the pivot low on the 29th. Could not close back in the pennant on the 30th, and then broke down further today. So I stopped out as we got comfortably below 24, using this pivot here as my stop out level. Unfortunate, but that's trading. We'll look to see how this shapes up in the near future, as I'm sure it has not done its bull move. So I hope you enjoyed the video today. I hope you all have a great New Year's Eve celebration, as limiting as it can be given the COVID restrictions. And I'll see you guys in 2021.